Can I ask you a question?
All right, what is it?
The question is, you are into, like, doing your part for the environment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, recycling when possible.
Okay. Me and many, many others, yes.
No, I realize other people, it's not you exclusively. Okay, on that basis, do you think it was appropriate to turn the heat up to 85 degrees last night and burn more oil than's used to produce, like, all of the plastic that both of us use over a 10-year period?
Really? You made those calculations?
I was doing some calculations this morning.
That's impressive. You can actually show me the
You want me to show you
calculations?
show the work?
Yeah.
I'll send you something.
I just wanted.
I'm just saying in general. If you just so you know, FYI for the future, when you turn up.
When it's freezing here at night because I don't know, like it cold.
No, but it's fine if you want it warm. But 85 degrees.
It wasn't 85.
Yes, it was over 80. It was over 80.
Are you only concerned about the environment when it's comfortable for you to do so?
Yeah, that's exactly.
The point is to bring a 2,000 square foot apartment with big windows up to 85 degrees when it's like below freezing outside takes a lot of energy.
When did you get up this morning?
I woke up in the middle of the night, like at 5 in the morning.
And you turned it down?
Yes.
Which I knew you would.
It was 85 degrees.
Welcome back to another edition of the Blowback Podcast, starring Amir, Chase, Doug, and Chris.
We are back with the latest Blowback Podcast.
First of 2015.
First official regular
with new topics.
With new topics.
Amir is mad at me because of
Can we
discussions that happened previous to the podcast. I'm not going to get into them, but I think that I've actually asked for Amir's apology, and that never happens with people. So if Amir can accept my apology, maybe we can start the podcast.
If Amir accepted your apology, why are you asking for an apology?
If he would accept mine. He hasn't accepted it yet.
All right, why don't we introduce the first topic, and maybe he'll be inspired to apologize at some point, or to accept your apology during the process.
Because the first topic gets everybody feeling good about society and life in general.
Right, which is the Academy Awards, which are tonight.
Yay. Otherwise known as the Oscars.
The Oscars. So we're recording this right before the Oscars is about to happen, but no one will hear this until after the Oscars, so everyone will know who won by the time they hear this.
So do I want to make some predictions?
Whatever floats your boat.
My prediction is that the Oscars will suck again this year, other than Benedict Cumberbatch being the star of the show, as is usually the case. I don't know if he'll win anything, but he should probably win.
How will he be the star of the show?
Because he's the most interesting character there. All these other people are phony, Hollywood pieces of crap.
But he is what?
He seems real in a way that actors often aren't.
Yeah.
Really
or
snooty.
Hollywood media types.
So sadly, I actually heard The Imitation Game was not good, which is disappointing because I would actually really love to see it.
I'm going to disagree there.
Being a computer science
It was quite good.
person.
You had to do some... I saw it.
He was our hero growing up.
Benedict?
Alan Turner.
No.
Oh. I didn't really care for the movie, like the storyline itself, but Benedict was great in it. And it also had Keira Knightley in it, which was another favorite of mine.
So you didn't actually like the movie, you just...
If it would have been anybody else, like if Mark Strong was in it, but if Mark Strong had the lead role, or if, I don't know, who would...
Who's the Irish guy? He's good.
Colin Farrell?
Stephen
No.
Ray?
Isn't he Irish?
What'd you say, Amir?
Matthew Good.
Matthew Good.
Yeah, he's good as well. Matthew Good, he was in...
Leap Year?
Yeah, Leap Year, which I thought was great. A great movie. It's a good...
Leap Year is way better than Imitation Game.
It's a romantic comedy.
It's got Amy Adams.
Amy Adams is in it.
Can I just say, on the Imitation Game, I have to actually disagree on several points.
I'm not going to allow you to disagree unless you apologize to me.
I thought you wanted... All right,
I don't think you should stop him from disagreeing.
Well, then I won't direct it to you. But the first point is that I thought while I think Cumberbatch is a very talented actor and I enjoy watching him, I thought it was a very
By the numbers performance?
yeah.
Are you-
Well,
were you gonna
I
say
thought it was
derivative?
very unidimensional type of character. He played a very, quirky.
He plays Sherlock Holmes.
He played his Sherlock Holmes, but maybe a little bit even pushing it further.
Yeah. So I'm without sparing everyone my 20-minute rant on why this movie is horrible and it's an embarrassment on why it should have been nominated.
And I'm not a big
Jason's
fan of Keira
appearance.
Knightley either. Just
But let me just say, just briefly, that for some reason they decided to make Alan Turing have Asperger's, which is not true at all.
What?
Yeah. The movie is not really about.
in fact, before you find out that he's homosexual, you think he might be on the spectrum.
He
Right.
was very honest. He was very like,
It's in that artistic license.
I don't think it's in the artistic license in the sense that,
Not autistic license, artistic.
well, I don't think it's in either licensing bureau. It's one of those things that it doesn't have. It's completely unrelated to the actual story of Alan Turing. I mean, I think you can always.
especially if it's not true.
It's not true at all. I mean, it's not true at all. He was like the opposite. The funny part is in the movie they portray him as very closeted homosexual, but that's almost like tangential to him being this like autistic guy or Asperger's guy who has no friends and can't relate to anyone. The real Alan Turing was actually kind of openly homosexual, but everyone kind of thought he was cool and jolly, had lots of friends, very warm
It's
guy.
based on a true story. It's not the true story. Do you think Selma is completely correct in its...
Well, if in Selma they portrayed like Martin Luther
They didn't make
King.
Martin Luther King have Asperger's or
Yeah.
autism. That would have made no sense. Like,
Why-
it doesn't even make any sense
So
to
what do you
say...
think their motivation was in doing that?
Well, I think it was like, oh, Benedict will be great if he does the Sherlock Holmes character, but even more so, even more unrelatable.
Well, isn't that fine if it gets people interested in the movie and interested in history?
No,
and-
you can't say Alan Turing has, like, autism or Asperger's.
Would it be better if they had just played it straight and the movie was completely boring? And...
The problem is the movie is very boring.
I thought that
why would giving him-
Cumberbatch
why
could have
would-
done a very
Why
good
would
job.
making him
and not
have
have to
Asperger's
be-
make it an interesting movie?
Yeah.
That doesn't. It sounds like an unnecessary.
It was.
tweak.
It's so.
Do they actually say it?
Interferes.
Or is it
Also,
not
they don't
behaved
say
way?
that he has Asperger's.
They're hammering
Chase
you over the head
is-
the entire movie.
I
He
don't-
he's completely socially isolated in the movie. He has not only has no friends, but people openly resent him, dislike him.
Not true.
No, Chris, you have to understand. The movie is a complete fabrication. Like the facts are not in any way related to the historical facts. So this is just a made up movie using historical figures, basically doing as they will with these historical figures.
What jackass made this movie?
I don't know. And the movie's not very good either. That's the thing. It's basically
It's
Well, then I'm rooting
told
for.
boilerplate and cliche after cliche. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Gotcha.
It's very
terrible.
cliche.
I won't see it.
But
I will
now,
protest it.
I think you should see it and see if you agree with me.
No, I won't.
Okay.
I mean, Alan Turing is. First of all, can I give you my favorites? And I would like.
Yes,
to
absolutely.
say?
Please.
I actually saw a private screening of Selma and thought it was fantastic. It was a very well made movie. I know they weren't able to get licensed for some of Martin Luther King's speeches word for word. I don't really understand how that works.
The copyright?
Yeah, I don't
That's
understand how that
interesting.
works.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's weird. But why wouldn't
Why would the
they
family
want
give
to grant them those rights? I don't understand.
No,
But I
it's
thought
because,
the
they,
family-
it's because they had already granted them to somebody else.
Oh, that's right. There is
couldn't.
another MLK movie coming
Right.
out
Well,
through a
I look
different
forward to seeing it.
studio. And that's right.
But there was a lot I learned about the movement at Selma and how it came about, and what transpired, and so I really recommend everybody see it. Also, I really did like Grand Budapest Hotel.
I liked Grand
I
Budapest.
enjoyed it. I
It was
thought
a clever
it was
movie.
Very
But
classic Wes
that's
Anderson.
Yeah.
like any other Wes
It was a
Anderson
good Wes
movie.
Anderson.
I thought it was
I have a
his
hard time watching
best
good movies.
movie since. I thought it was better than Rushmore. I think this is the best movie since Bottle Rocket, quite frankly. And I'm not a huge fan of the Upper East Side people.
Royal Tenenbaum?
Royal Tenenbaum. I'm not a huge. That's just my personal thing. But yeah, I thought it was really his best movie. I was kind of.
The others I don't know. American Sniper is retarded. I don't even know why that's on there.
Whoa,
Sorry.
redact word. We don't use that term.
We don't have to read. We don't have to. cut
I'm
it
just
out.
saying.
You say
Why
you
don't we
want
use that word?
Well,
It's
Amir's in
retarded
Amir's
is
developmental.
it's like a word that like is
Pejorative
now like it's a
and it's
pejorative. It's
not
like
a-
calling something you don't like gay.
Right.
Or
We can't do that either.
no, apparently
Mentally
no.
retarded. Is
Aren't you the most liberal person here?
I am.
It's
but
not
I'm
about
too
liberal
lazy
or
to
not.
be
It's-
politically correct.
Yeah. Well, you are.
Okay, so yes, I don't understand why American Sniper's on there. Birdman.
Can I say something about American Sniper?
Have you
I
seen
thought,
it?
I thought it was, I mean, it's just not one of those movies where I'm like, this movie frickin' rocks. It's like, it's okay. It's
Why
good.
don't you think it should be on there? I haven't seen it yet,
I mean,
so I can't give it.
I think there's some combination of, not just an interesting movie, but there's, the aspects of like acting and cinematography and all these other things. In the trailers, it doesn't seem like American Sniper has all these things. Like complex plot.
Okay.
Well,
You
did you see
haven't
the
seen
movie?
it?
No, I just saw the trailer.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
All right, for those who have seen the movie,
I've seen the movie. Have you seen it?
I've seen the movie.
I think I would give it on a scale of 1 to 10, probably an 8.
I give it a 7 to 8.
Yeah,
I
I
thought it was a.
I will see it.
It
Not
was
before the
it
Oscars.
was a very
but I will see it.
gripping. Look, I didn't know much about the actual character.
Chris Kyle, yeah.
Now that I know, in retrospect, it does kind of taint a little bit of the movie, but
Yeah, but just
I
you
thought the
say taint?
performance.
if he was a bad person, that doesn't mean that the movie.
No,
wasn't
no, no,
good.
no, no. But I'm saying in terms of the fact that they portrayed him as so
Righteous.
righteous.
Right.
And-
Well, I think the biggest thing with him is the tall tales, right? Like him being in New Orleans and shooting.
But that right, that stuff. That wasn't in the movie. That,
There's basically his actual assassinations or whatever, his killings in Iraq are all documented. There's like actual reports and like people think those are basically accurate, even though the movie depicts them as fictionalized.
The people that have issues with the movie, isn't it more the whitewashing of why we went to Iraq and why soldiers were fighting in Iraq?
Right, but the movie has nothing to do with that. The
That's
movie
like-
is
usually
right.
that's the
the thing is,
criticism I'm
the
hearing
movie to
from-
me is not really. It's not a political movie. It's actually kind of in many ways an anti-war movie because it shows you a lot of the problems that the veterans have when they come back,
Right.
and how difficult it is for them to be in theater on repeated occasions. So that I thought was the strongest part of the movie.
Why are progressives up in arms about it? No, I say progressive, not liberals. Liberals.
I think a lot of them.
or as Chase likes to call them, Jacobian liberals.
Hako beans.
Yeah, Haka beans.
those are my favorite coffee beans. Anyway,
That's how you spell it.
I don't think the movie is. To be honest, if you just watch the movie on its own merits, I don't think it's really objectionable. People might take what they know about Chris Kyle from his life.
Is it more the people that are going to see the movie that certain camps of political?
I think people who go to see the movie actually enjoy the movie.
Right. I don't think
No,
it's.
but what I'm saying,
It's just not a
popular.
It's
like
not a
red-
controversial
it's like
movie.
red-wing.
Is it
Well,
at all like
it's not right-wing-
complex or
Right, sorry, yeah, right wing.
Because Eastwood is a very-
It's very thought provoking
Right.
because the whole.
He's right wing, but he's anti-war.
right.
Supposedly.
So he's a libertarian. He's not a pro war.
He's a pacifist, correct?
Yeah. I mean, so the
I
yes.
you can say he's a pacifist.
Well, whatever the case is, the movie is
Dirty
very.
Harry was not a pacifist, but Clint Eastwood is.
Right. The movie is very thought-provoking in the sense of the effects of war, absolutely veterans. I'd say the majority of the movie is actually, about half of it's devoted to in-theater action, which Chris Kyle's going through.
That was the in Iraq
In Iraq.
theater, not the movie theater.
Right. And then, that is absolutely correct. And then the other half is basically what's going on with veterans when they come back.
Yeah,
I didn't even know
but
about the second half. I thought
I'll
it was
tell
just
you,
an action movie.
Well, it was.
It's not an action movie like that.
I mean, it plays on a lot of the themes that Hurt Locker did, where
Yeah.
the character had a need to it's almost an escape from normalcy of the day-to-day life when they come back. They want to sign up for
Go
another
back
tour,
to war, yeah.
and they keep wanting to go back. And then when they're no longer in it, that's when it's apparently the PTSD hits, and
Right.
they can't live.
Yeah, this is not. I mean, this is not like John McClane going and shooting up a whole bunch of people and come back and it's like, hey, let's have a party. I mean, characters depicted as going through a lot of problems. I mean, it's
John McClane went through a lot of problems.
I will-
but his
off screen.
problems were all more terrorists that he needed to kill.
Future terrorists coming back. But he was divorced.
I know.
and
Moving on,
lost his kids.
has anyone seen Birdman?
Yes.
No, I haven't seen
I
it.
have not seen it. It looks.
I will tell you
I
something.
can't say
Birdman.
I can't say it looks like I would love it, but the more I learn about it, it just seems like very.
It's
complex
been panned
and
by a lot of
dark.
people. But it's co-favorite. So why don't you talk
Right.
about it?
Birdman is basically first of all, the performances are great. Some of the best. I mean, Ed Norton, even Emma Stone.
They're both up for supporting actors.
They were great, right? And I'm, I hadn't seen Ed Norton in anything in a while, so I thought that it's a backstage type of movie. I think it caters a lot to people who are in the industry actually, and maybe that could be why it's not as universally,
Well, it barely got the release on Birdman is so small. It's like Whiplash.
Yeah, it was really.
Well, I thought it was purely an indie
Whiplash.
movie. I didn't know it was even going to be wide released. But anyway, it's about a man who is a former.
It's basically Michael.
He played a superhero, and that was his big success. And then he hasn't had any success since then.
Like Michael Keaton.
What's that?
Like Michael Keaton.
It's like Michael Keaton. Yeah.
So, why don't you tell us what you thought of the movie, though, rather than what is?
I enjoyed it a lot. I thought the performances were great. I enjoyed the aspect of the behind the scenes, what goes on in the theater world, backstage, the antics. But I don't know if that's going to generalize to a broader audience.
Right.
Oh, I don't think they're.
I don't know. The last thing I wanted to say about this, about the Oscars, is another movie I haven't seen, but is up for Steve Carell's up for Best Actor.
For Foxcatcher.
Foxcatcher.
Yeah.
I just read the story about this, and I didn't really know anything about it.
So
really crazy.
So one of the funny things is,
I'm curious to see him play this
a
role.
huge percentage of these movies now, this year, they're biopics
Yeah.
that are nominated, right? Like Foxcatcher is a biopic. And the actual main character that Channing Tatum plays, the real life guy came out like on social media and says this movie is complete bullshit.
Oh, really?
It's just like
Just like The Imitation Game.
just like except for Alan Turing is dead. He couldn't come out and say this is bullshit.
But he did probably envision social media
Right.
in his brilliance.
I'm sure he did.
The Enigma machine is really the Twitter 1.0.
So, but yeah, has anyone seen Foxcatcher?
No,
I have not.
I'd like to.
Now,
Can we say a brief, quick synopsis
Sure.
of the story?
Wait,
Would
you
like
have
to do
seen
that?
it?
You probably know it better than I do.
All I know is that he was an all-American wrestler.
So the Foxcatcher is the farm that this really wealthy guy that Steve Carell plays family owned, and he converted it into a wrestling training camp for Olympic athletes. And he was just crazy.
Yeah, he's in jail now. The character.
Oh yeah, if he's not dead, he either died in jail or he's still in jail.
What did he do wrong?
In his obsession with these wrestlers, and he was both. I don't know if he was directly coaching them or he had a coach that he was working with, but he brought these people in, and in addition to being very strange, became so attached to one that he ended up killing him.
Oh, okay. But not Channing Tatum's character.
No, well, actually, it was Channing Tatum's brother, I think. And so.
Oh yeah. By the way, spoiler alert for the fall.
It's a true life story. It's not like a
Spoiler.
Okay, so
You haven't seen
the other movie is Boyhood, which is the favorite.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Have you seen it, Mary?
Yes, I
You
saw
can-
it actually
Where
when
do you get time
when
for all
it came
these
out.
movies?
Can you get a pocket?
I choose.
He
Wait,
doesn't have a job.
You don't have a job?
Not a real one.
Well,
I
if you sit on the corner
I
and
choose
pay
the
for
movies that I
change,
see. I haven't seen a lot of the crap that these two enjoy seeing, so I focus on the ones I.
you're talking about Kingsman because that's the movie.
Kingsman.
that
No,
sucks.
Kingsman. I heard.
Kingsman was amazing.
I heard
The
it was
interview,
good.
you cannot
But
talk bad
the-
about the interview.
But
The interview was great as well.
Okay,
that is
see,
a
like, I
travesty.
wouldn't waste my time-
It was not
on the interview, I wouldn't waste my time on Jupiter or whatever.
ascending.
I wouldn't waste my time on some of the other garbage that they go see. But
Well, why don't you talk about Boyhood rather than?
Yeah.
Why are you trashing Selma?
I also saw Wild. I mean, I saw
Wild. What's that?
Oh, that's the
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese
That
Witherspoon.
looked good.
Oh, right.
That's all right.
Right. Well, she's kind
She-
of feral. Right?
she goes into this nymphomaniac feral,
Oh, I'm definitely going to see it.
right?
the
She
problem
goes
is,
into an no. She's
Amir
her
thinks-
life
Amir thinks
pre
that's all women,
the
so it's not gonna
Pacific.
be any different.
What is it? Pacific. It's on the Pacific coast. It's the
Oh, the trail?
the Northwest.
No, you're talking about the
Pacific
Sierra.
Northwest.
Is it the Sierra Trail or something like that?
No, it has a name, but
JMT?
no,
She goes there to pick up
Appalachian
men.
Trail, the AT.
she's definitely not in that plane.
Is this on the? Why are we? Is this
Trail of
on the
Tears.
list of?
Is that in Oklahoma or anyway? But the
she was nominated for Best Actress in it.
Anyway, aside from, I mean, I don't think Wild is going to win many awards, but the point is that Boyhood, the reason that it's garnered so much attention is because it was shot over.
Right, it's an interesting
12
concept,
years.
right?
Yeah.
A novel concept that hadn't been.
Yeah,
tried
Richard
before.
Linklater decided that he wanted to follow the same character through his life and
Which is really, it sounds like he was
format.
copying my idea of following you through your dating life on Tinder.
Did you like the movie?
I'm definitely not going to see this movie now. That sounds terrible.
I like Linklater.
The answer sounds like no.
I just it wasn't. It didn't.
Good. We got it. Let's go to the next topic. Doug.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
Doug.
Sorry, what? Brian Williams. Brian Williams.
Whoa.
Very interesting thing. Isn't it interesting that he kind of was found out about all of this, all of his supposed alleged lies, after his daughter got more sexually active on girls.
What?
Apparently, there's
She
like
had
a
the
big
anal scene.
It's just a
licking
scene in the
scene.
show. In the show,
But it was quite graphic. I actually watched it.
Oh, his daughter's on Girls?
Yeah,
Did
she was
you
also
see-
the
you see
Peter.
her
You see the
anus?
Peter Pan
No, but
live.
the act itself is
She's
quite.
just what? Her face is in somebody's ass.
No, some guy's face is in hers.
Oh, I thought she was performing.
No,
it,
she was receiving.
Oh,
recipient.
Anyway,
We're not all as sexually.
But Allison Williams also back in December or whatever, right around the holidays, they did the live action version of Peter Pan,
right?
with Christopher Walken
I mean, well,
as Hook.
yeah, how did that?
I think I heard Christopher Walken say one time, "I will never turn down a movie."
Peter, I got this hook on my hand.
That was James.
It was also. Why don't you do your Christopher Walken impression? You're good at impersonation.
If I knew some of the lines from this movie,
Just say
Do you know
anything,
the concept of Peter Pan?
Peter. I can't do
Oh my
it.
god, that was horrible.
Biloxi Blues.
Peter.
Good in Biloxi Blues.
Christopher Walken's good in everything. He's a really
But he doesn't
good.
play a different. He plays the same character in every.
Plays himself.
Who's insane?
You know, he does what he does with his character.
That's better.
It's kind of
And,
Al
good.
Pacino-ish.
all right.
Okay. So Brian Williams.
I mean, he's been found out, and all these other stories are coming out now. So
Yeah.
the
I was
first one that came
curious
out,
if there was. If
the
this
first
was like
one that
an
came
habitual
out
thing.
was
It's gotta
that
be.
he was going around talking about being in a helicopter. So whenever he would talk to troops, I guess, or talk at these award ceremonies for troops, and the latest one, the one that he was found out in, was they were honoring some veterans at a New York Rangers game, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And a couple days afterwards, one of the veterans that was honored actually wrote a piece in a
In Stars and Stripes.
military blog, or is it a magazine?
Well, it's a military newspaper called Stars and Stripes.
Saying that this story is complete bullshit, and Brian Williams
They've
is
been
an
saying this
hour
for a
away.
while, though.
They've been
It's
saying an
not the
hour
first
away,
time
but it
he
just
said
hasn't come. It hasn't
it's
been.
never
It
matriculated
hasn't
to the
been
public.
widely released.
Well, it seems like the
Lying
NBC
about it.
brass knew there was issues and told him to stop saying these stories, but he kept doing it anyway.
But then, so after this came out, other stories that he's told about seeing a dead body float down the street from his hotel on Bourbon Street
Down Bourbon Street.
was found. Like other people there saying Bourbon Street was never flooded, so there's no way a body could have floated down the street. I can't remember some of the
Maybe
other
you're just
stories.
confused about the street because there were bodies
That-
floating
I mean,
down
that's
a lot of
fine.
streets.
But the French Quarter didn't flood.
Maybe he was on a different street.
But he said
The
from
French,
his
no,
hotel-
he was
He was
in
not
the French Quarter.
Oh, he wasn't.
He
in
said
the
I was
French
staying.
Quarter. Okay.
He was staying in the French Quarter, and he said from his hotel balcony he saw a body float down the street.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, so I mean, these other stories of him lying have come out, and I was more interested from the story from the. It seems like the network news anchor has kind of gone the way, or is going the way of the dodo.
Yeah, but
Amir now gets his news from Key and Peele. So, we were watching the
That's
Oscar.
like when we figured out who the Oscar nomination.
Right.
Or the
He wanted to-
Oscar controversy.
He's like, you guys should watch this so you see what the controversies in the Oscars are. And it was a Key and Peele clip. So I don't think we don't need news anchors anymore now that
I
Key and
think
Peele are around.
Definitely. So similar things have come
I just
out
think
about-
that it's similar to.
Yes, please go ahead.
I want to get a word edgewise here. I just think it's akin to the idea that, back when, say, someone like JFK was president, right? And he did many things.
Not a news anchor, by the way.
Oh, really? I thought that's...
He was the president of the
maybe I'm
United
confusing
States.
him with... Anyway, when he was president and things he did on the side were kind of
Around the
not...
road?
No one paid
paid attention, and then later now, then Bill Clinton and all these... Then we focus on their foibles.
We have access to their foibles now. Whereas before we didn't.
Here's the thing. I'm not sure.
Was there rumors
But
going
then you go
around
to
that JFK was sleeping around with women?
At the time,
Everyone knew he was sleeping around.
Really?
He was.
none
when
of
he
us
was
are
a
contemporaries.
When
None
he
of
was
us are contemporaries.
when he was a
so I
senator,
don't know.
Yeah.
he'd been going to sex clubs with reporters.
Was it discussed in the New York Times?
No.
or-
It was never discussed.
It was
but the
somehow
general public
controlled.
had no idea of this.
Oh, the general. No, I think you meant
That's
the
what I'm
press.
saying. Like, now the
People
general
just knew
public
how to
knows
keep it secret
everything.
back then.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, go on with what you were saying. I was just saying that there's parallels to this in.
I think in the modern day, well, first of all, a lot of these similar stories are coming out about Bill O'Reilly, who's obviously jumped
Right,
on
but the Bill O'Reilly
Yes.
stories are being put up by Mother Jones, not by the Stars and Stripes.
What are
So-
they saying? What is
He claims to have covered the Falkland War and been in combat or
It's
embedded in
I don't think
combat.
it's worth getting into the Bill O'Reilly thing because it's not related, but Brian Williams is an interesting story.
The parallel I'm trying to make is, well, one, nobody really cares about the O'Reilly part because he's O'Reilly. Like half the stuff.
Because he just talks out of his ass all the time.
Yeah, he's a different type of reporter.
Yeah.
This type of reporter that Brian Williams is perceived as in the public is this, Walter Cronkite.
Well, right. His job description is to be able to read and tell the truth, and he's missing 50% of that.
Well, he's better than Al Sharpton, who can't read and can't tell the truth.
But Al Sharpton at least has Al Sharpton is an opinion show, or it's like his little commentary show. Brian Williams is supposed to be just presenting the news to the public in a straightforward way. I mean, I don't really think it's kind of like JFK in his background flow, because we have a situation where Brian Williams is going on television telling stories of his heroics in combat that are not.
Was he ever on television? He wasn't in his nightly news role. He wasn't telling this story, was he?
He would reference it a few different times, including when he was doing a reporter for when Tom Brokaw was still doing the news, and his original version of the story, where they used a photograph of the damage to the helicopter and said, "I was on this helicopter."
What was the other
helicopter? It was a helicopter that not only was not on, he wasn't even anywhere near.
What's interesting is this before who was the first anchor that was kind of outed as
Dan Rather.
It was Dan Rather. Even before Dan Rather in the
Dan Rather got in trouble because he was added to 60 Minutes started the spinoff show,
right? And
he was added to the 60 Minutes spinoff show. So it was something that was not presented on his Dan Rather nightly news show. It was something that he had done.
Was it when they lit the trucks on fire?
No, that was Dateline. No, Dan Rather. What happened was they got conned into believing that there were these great documents that proved Bush had not served or whatever, and the documents were created on Microsoft Word.
Right.
So
that font did not exist.
Well, they had the superscripted THs, and these are supposed to So.
I mean, as Amir,
but he wasn't
say,
trying to embellish it. He just failed to do sufficient fact checking.
They didn't do due diligence.
Right. No. It's like he wanted to believe the story.
Yeah.
So he didn't. It was too good to check.
Yeah.
Amir, as the only veteran here, are you offended that Brian Williams is kind of making these stories up about your fellow servicemen?
Okay, I don't even know how to reply to that. What I wanted to say was that even before these, actual occurrences, they were present. There was a precedent. I don't know if any of you remember the movie Broadcast News, which.
Yes.
Do you? All right. And you recall that
William Hurt makes up. He makes up that he does a clever edit to show himself crying, which didn't actually happen at the time. Which is similar.
It's just it predated these actual real life.
Right. Well, I think that look, the Daily Show does that. The Daily Show is notorious for doing 4 hours of filming on somebody and wait till they say something and then. like
stitching
it together with a different question. So like,
but that they're delivering comedy.
If we're looking to a fake news show for our journalistic
examples,
integrity,
actually many people do.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the thing is, one of the things Doug was saying was the nightly news anchor is going the way of the dodo bird. I mean, it is true. Like, who watches the nightly news, right?
Yeah.
The people that really watch it a lot of them are kind of like,
It's 65.
65 and there's a lot of women actually, and that's why they focus so much on like health news now. Like if you actually watch the broadcast, very little of it has to do with like world events, and like lots of it has to do with like latest developments in health and all these other things. So it's hard to say what exactly. I mean, I think these news shows will still exist, but going into the future, they're just going to be, the topics are just going to be different, and
It'll be like watching Dr. Oz.
yeah.
Except that Dr. Oz,
That
you guys know
actually
about the British
sounds like a
Medical
really good
Journal's,
just
way
happy-
of describing
I'm just happy you're
it.
looking at it.
But I would agree with that, absolutely. I think also news is becoming incredibly more complex. And just the speed to which things are coming to print or to tweet,
Right.
whatever it may be.
I don't know if
And
I don't think
the
news,
people on it, it's just not possible for a single agency to have people everywhere,
I don't think
especially
news-
in a period where all that stuff is being
news isn't getting more
cut
complex.
more and more.
People's capacity to understand complex issues is diminishing.
Okay, well, that could be true too, but I mean,
That is true.
I think that happens.
But
that's going on for younger people.
The reason that's happening is because news sources, whatever they are, and as much I love reading Vox for different reasons. I think they have some good sources of information, but I also think them trying to say I can explain this very complex situation in a number of placards is ridiculous. And
But that's just the short attention span of younger people.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
People
That's
over
what
the
I'm
age,
saying.
people over the age of 40 don't read Vox.
Yeah, for the
Be
most part, I
careful.
guess.
Some of us are getting very close to.
Right. I mean,
Well, somebody's actually over 40 right now.
but I don't think Amir even knows what Amir doesn't know what Vox is, so it's
Of
not
course I know what Vox is, and maybe, but you should explain it to people who,
all are over 40
Vox,
listeners.
Vox
make
is
hits
an
back in the day?
explainer news site, but it's been shown numerous times to take a liberal slant when they said they were never going to do that. But the problem is, I don't care about that as much, given that I like those politics. My problem with Vox is they try and take these very complex issues, and they have somebody that's 25 that has no background in it. They maybe have like an international relations study major, maybe a master's in it, and that person tries to explain these complex issues.
Why don't we go into Sacco? Because this actually dovetails very well, I think.
How does it dovetail into it?
Because, and this is the point I think I was telling Amir, we have like what's happened is with journalism writ large is you have kind of like the old version of journalism where you have these crusty reporters and they're like bad suits and like their unkempt ties, but they're just getting, or if it's a woman they're just, her hair is not made up well, and they're just out there to get the story, and they're pounding the pavement, they get the story, they're getting the basics. And that's really been replaced by all these like people under the age of 35 who are, basically social science majors and don't really have any marketable skills in the modern economy. They're otherwise unemployed except for they exist in media like Vox, or if they don't get a job at Vox, maybe it's at like BuzzFeed, or if they don't get BuzzFeed, then they're a blogger, Gawker.
Right.
So they're like, but these are not like, they're not like old pros trained in their industry. They're kind of just like people spitting out information as best they can.
And they don't have any training in journalistic ethics.
Well, it's not just ethics, but it's like it's it's more immature. And then that would happen with the Sacco woman.
So to explain the Sacco.
Yeah. So why don't you
Sacco
just
thing,
introduce that?
There was this woman, Justine Sacco, who was a public relations or some type of PR position at IAC, which is a media conglomerate, mostly online media. They own a number of websites, one which and apps. Amir uses one quite often. Actually, two of them quite often. OkCupid and what's the flicking one? Tinder.
I mean, the one you mentioned 3 times within the past
I
20
forgot
minutes.
that. I've had half a bottle.
Within 3 words of a mirror.
You won't drink any of my prosecco with me to squash this beef that we've had. But anyway, this woman was on a flight, international flight. She tweeted something inappropriate, which she has said was just like it's supposed to be a comment on society.
All right,
Can we just say it? I mean,
No. I think the sequence of what happened should be a little bit clarified a little better.
That's what I would be able to
Before she
sequence
got on
better
the
if you
flight,
would drink some of this
before
prosecco
she
with
got on
me.
the flight,
she drank too much Prosecco.
she tweeted something to the effect of, "I'm going to Africa.
Hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding, I'm white."
Yeah, I'm white. So the point
Then
is,
shut off her phone.
shut off her phone, gets on an 11-hour flight to Cape Town. So essentially, went
15 hours. I've been on that plane.
It's from London.
from London.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. You stand corrected. And
Why is she in London?
Look at the power of
works at
America
IAC in New York.
No,
Well, I
she was
think
just
she-
in transit, and
Yeah.
that's where she tweeted.
Oh, she
Then
should have got a
got-
direct flight. She could have avoided all of this mess.
Anyway, the point being
Could've,
that as
should've,
soon as she
would've.
tweeted it, people knew she was on a flight. It went the tweet. I don't know
Went
how
viral.
because it was her followers. I don't know who.
Yeah, she had about
they
That
never
was, that was,
mentioned-
that was
She
the
only
big
had a-
thing, was she
how it
only
got-
had like 150
Yeah,
Right,
followers.
her friends.
And somebody...
But they weren't private tweets, right? It wasn't
It wasn't a
Facebook.
private tweet.
I mean, and someone could have picked up on it. That
The
wasn't.
point is,
Somebody must have given it to. I mean, because the guy from Gawker was eventually
Sam Biddle was the one
Right,
that
who-
picked up on it first.
Right.
And he tweeted
Spread
it
it
to all
to
his
everybody.
followers. And then this
And he had
mob
17,000 or
basically...
something?
Yeah, he's a reporter at Gawker. He has a lot of followers.
So people were essentially monitoring her like
This mob formed within the...
while she was on the flight.
Digital mob.
Digital mob within 11 hours formed. And actually there was a
Somebody
hashtag...
at the airport waiting.
Has she
Has
landed?
Justine
Has she
landed yet?
She had no idea.
Right.
She turns on her phone. All of a sudden, she sees she has like 100 messages.
Well, the first one she sees is from her friend.
Her friend
Like, I'm
says,
so
saying,
sorry this is
yeah.
happening to you.
Yeah, exactly. And she had canceled her account. And
Right.
And she lost her job.
She lost her
She lost
job
her job. She actually went on to work at a competitor of that.
of IAC.
No.
Oh, of Twitter. Or
no.
of Tinder.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, hot or not?
Hot
yeah, she
or
went to
not.
work.
Hot or Not still around?
Yeah,
It's
apparently.
actually
They're
trying to make a
they're trying to
comeback.
morph it
So
into
that's
that.
the thing. is
Hot or
they-
Not was when I was in college. So
Yeah.
But now they're trying to make it
There's
a
no
dating
dating
app.
aspect
Now
to
they're trying to
it.
make
It
it
was
a
just, a bunch of dorks sitting around in their dorm room looking at women we couldn't attain. Amir didn't have this problem when he
I
was
feel
in
like I
college.
might have hooked up with a girl from Hot or Not.
Oh, well, congratulations.
I forget how it worked and if it's true, but
Well, back in the day,
Well,
you just rated.
Stalking a woman.
I thought there was some messaging component to it.
Was there?
Maybe there was.
I did not get
I
any
could be
replies on my.
That's all right.
Anyway, so it's interesting that this woman had so few followers. None of them were famous or had any.
She was not a celebrity anyway.
Right.
She just basically
And
sent a
she
message
said
out to the
some-
world.
She said something off color, and whether or not, she came back and said, "Listen, I was trying to make some social commentary. That's not really her job. She probably should have been careful about what she was saying, but." Should
Well,
that person be persecuted like she was for saying?
I think her comments were spin, but
her comments after about what
yeah,
she said.
about
Yeah, they-
it
most
was
likely,
misinterpreted.
but still,
yeah.
even let's assume that her comment was just an off-color joke. How many off-color jokes go on? I'm not even talking between like a group of white people here, between a group of black friends, between a group of gay friends, between a group of any like group of society. Off-color jokes happen all the time. If they're published, should you get in trouble for making them to the extent where you lose your job?
Well, I think there's two different things.
Branding
One
in
is
society
she is in
as-
marketing and she did send this public. She should have been.
She should have known better.
She should have been known.
PR.
It's
It wasn't even marketing. It's
the
PR.
the consequences are what they are. To me, the more interesting question is why would Gawker care to make this a story? Like it's not a like
Well,
it's not
Gawker
a.
didn't, Sam Biddle did. But have you read Sam Biddle came out with a apology,
Yeah.
and he actually met with her and said, "Holy shit, I was completely wrong. I can't believe this person just seems like a normal person." He actually has bought into the story of her having made just some social commentary.
But to me, like, why does it matter? I mean, why did Sam Biddle put that? This
I know, but he said, "Listen, this is getting out of control. This like."
But he
digital mob."
created the problem.
Right.
So okay, this is how it ties into what I was saying before. We basically have all these people, these younger people. They don't have skills. They don't have mark. But what they're really good at is getting in a frenzy on social media.
Right.
And
This ties back to our conversation
Manufactured
from last time
controversies.
about People just have too much time.
They have too much time.
Yes. Who has time to get that worked up and act and go to the airport to tweet about the arrival of someone who made an off-color remark?
This is like, I worry about like the future of society where what happens when we have like real advancements in like robots, where robots are doing like all our labor and we have way more free time than we have now.
Well, there has been some issues.
Right?
What's the thing called where you actually like call? So this happens online a lot, where you have a controversy with somebody says something you don't like, and you find their information, like where they live.
Oh, doxing.
Doxing. And you call the police and you say there's like been a murder, there's like a
gunman. That's another concept. That's not.
But that's happening in this happens.
That's called
now.
swatting. Swatting is when you.
What's doxing?
Doxing is just when you release all the personal info.
Okay. The swatting thing, that's very dangerous. So
swatting is very dangerous, especially in the modern police forces that are like armed to the teeth.
Yeah. They have all these Ferguson.
So wait, I could do this.
You could do it right now, Amir. To me, yes,
you could swat him.
Instead of accepting my apology, you could swat me.
The problem is,
is this a website?
Right. The problem is you'd have to take some initiative. So I might be beyond your capabilities.
Are you saying I should feel comfortable that this is?
I don't think he's gonna.
Although if it does happen, Amir is on record.
I don't even know where. Yeah.
I'm just seeing if I can find my address online.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm listed.
Your address should be online, Chris, because you have real property.
But it's often not. It's often not. You can find it through just like a general search. But people are willing to pay the $10 or whatever to do a background check.
Oh, absolutely.
Find this person's information.
Luckily, I have a very generic name.
But you're not concerned because you have such a general name. My name is very particular. I won't say my last name, but of Dutch royalty.
So, which last name?
I can't say it.
Just why don't we just give yourself a pseudonym?
It's Vandersloot.
It's not Vandersloot.
Give yourself a pseudonym. I mean, really, at this point.
It's not Vandersloot. And that's we don't appreciate. The Dutch people don't appreciate you bringing him up.
Well, the world doesn't appreciate you guys producing him and giving him to the world and all the young ladies of
just
Alabama.
like Justine Sacco on the back end, she tried to change what she did. She said, I was actually providing some type of social commentary. That's all Jordan Vandersloot was doing to show, like...
He was providing social commentary through raping and murdering?
Obviously he was wrong, but he had somewhat pure intentions to show that these sorority girls in America have run amok.
But what about the ones who aren't American that he murdered?
I thought he was.
Woman.
Did he murder a Peruvian?
I guess she had run amok also.
He did with that. He went a step too far. I apologize to the family of whatever that woman's name was.
She didn't deserve it, unlike the American who did deserve it.
No. The
American didn't deserve it either.
No, that's his argument. I'm just reciting.
Nobody deserved to die. Period.
Yeah, I don't think anybody.
What about Hitler? Did Hitler deserve to die? What about Osama bin Laden?
When I said nobody deserved to die, I meant in this specific.
You mean Vandersloot's victims?
Yes.
5 minutes ago, you were saying you were going to swat me, which I have a good chance of dying if you do that. So apparently you think I deserve to die, but this sorority girl did not.
Wait, what are
they will never get that tank up to the potential building.
Give me some odds.
If you report the crime really bad, like, hey, he just murdered three cops.
There's a gunman. There's a gunman in that person's address.
Maybe I'm just going to contact the Anti-Defamation League. They could do much more damage to you than anything. Any SWAT team.
They have their own SWAT team, don't they? The Anti-Defamation League.
I'm actually a fellow at the Anti-Defamation League. I've done a lot of positive legal work.
So they'll have your address.
All right.
Go back to ISIS.
So I thought it was kind of interesting. I mean, it's not funny in the sense that it's the brutal beheadings of the 21 Coptic Christians.
What is it? That's a Greek Christians?
No, they were in Egypt.
Egypt is Coptic.
Coptics have been especially in Egypt, but like say basically since the first century.
Did they? I was about to say that. Did
they have the Ark of the Covenant?
No, they had the Coptic scrolls.
Yeah, I mean
these are like the books of the Bible that never made it into the Bible.
Well, there's there's the.
What are those called? The Beatitudes?
No, Beatitudes are the.
You're thinking of the Apocrypha.
I don't
Did you go to a Christian college?
I did.
Don't you have a Jesus fish tattooed on your leg?
That is it's a.
The only answer to that is yes.
So the Coptics, I think the Coptics,
it's a Greek symbol.
I don't think actually it is a Greek symbol.
Thank you, Chase.
The Coptics and the Gnostics, I don't think are actually
Gnostics. The Gnostic Gospels. That's right.
directly related to one another. I think the Coptics were actually a spin-off of the Church in Alexandria. I think.
This is why you need to read Bart Ehrman, by the way.
Well, Chase he's reading Zealot instead.
Well, that's why. Well, I was trying to explain to him you should not get your history from Aslan as per Bart Ehrman. First thing I went to Bart Ehrman to see what he had to say, and he could, 25 pages on why the book is totally wrong. But whatever.
By the way, the church, the Coptic church, it was established by Saint Mark in the middle of the first century.
Mark from the Bible.
Oh, very good. First century.
In the middle.
Approximately
AD 42.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Mark is the companion of
Paul.
Peter.
Mary.
And the namesake of Marky Mark, correct?
Mark was a doctor.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah. That's the tradition. We don't know. We don't know these for things for sure, but that's the tradition.
Was he a
Pediatrician.
He was.
So the reason I brought this up was it now looks like, well, unfortunately, these people were actually murdered.
Actually beheaded, but
Yeah, or maybe not
in a
even.
different
We don't even know if they were
location.
beheaded.
Originally, they thought it was in Egypt. It was
A
the first
mass
time they would
beheading
have-
in
on the
Libya.
shores,
In
on the
Libya.
shores of
Libya.
Libya.
Which would have been a big PR coup because Libya, geographically, is not that far from Italy. So they said we're...
Oh, that's right. They wanted to do it as close to Rome as possible.
Yes,
correct? Yeah.
right. And we're... You travel not too far from Libya, the shores, you're in Tunisia, and that's where Carthage was. And Carthage was basically... had a huge history with the Roman Empire, so it's almost like you could just hop right onto Sicily. I mean, you're not that far. Anyway, it now looks like the video was supposed to be taken from these shores. It now looks like they actually shot the video in front of a green screen. So
Which shows their capabilities.
it shows their technological capabilities, but their geographical limits are.
Is it possible that any of that ISIS was involved with any of the Oscar nominations?
I was just thinking that.
Which one do you think was
They
the
now
most?
have the capabilities to invade our Oscars by producing
The Neil Patrick
special
Harris
effects.
as a host?
I was thinking maybe Boyhood. They might have been involved in Boyhood.
It's possible. Foxcatcher?
No, not Foxcatcher. I was just thinking of one movie.
Probably not American Sniper.
Anyway, so can we go back to this?
So what's the implication of this? Just that they're
Well,
not
I
as
think.
mobile as
Well, I don't know. There's two things. One is maybe they don't have the military power or the geographic reach. On the other hand, their social reach seems to be very strong. And I know the U.S. government's worried about this because apparently ISIS sends out 1,000 tweets a day. And
Are they on Twitter?
Oh, they're all over
Of course,
Twitter.
that's their main.
Isn't that a violation of Twitter's terms of use?
Well, what happens is they'll just start creating new accounts.
Nobody
Twitter
knows
shows-
who's creating the account. You can create it.
Well, I feel like once you
You can shut down.
they shut them down. And
You
then
shut
they
them
pop
down.
up
They'll
with
just a
a
new one will pop up. We can go if we want. We
It's
can go
like-
create
it's like
can't you track
bad
IP
sellers on
addresses
eBay.
and
IP addresses into Syria. I mean, what are we going to do about that?
Go attack them.
but you're able to say, okay, this IP address is coming from, they use this computer to create terrorists are good 1 2 3, and now they use terrorists are good 1 2 3 4. Can't you see?
To they create some algorithm to block all possible
I
accounts.
feel like
It's
I don't think they're in the
tweet that
business of
uses the word
saying
terrorism, perhaps?
Syria can't tweet.
yeah.
not Syria, not people from Syria.
Yeah, but how are you going to deter? I mean, freedom of speech, man.
But what I'm saying is, I could go
just as
on-
well say something that an ISIS
I thought you could tell
person would say.
specific IP locations. I'm not saying just over all of Syria, but this
You can
person,
mask your IP
this
very
IP
easily,
address has been
So what?
sending out terroristic
Propaganda?
tweets, terrorist propaganda before.
Yeah, but
we're
they
not going to
just-
allow them to set up a new Twitter account. I've been
Well,
kicked off
no,
blogs.
Twitter- setting up
there
a
are
new
people
account.
from the
they're
United
not-
States sending terrorist propaganda. I mean, it's
Also block them as well.
then you get into
They
the
don't,
slippery slope.
But
what happens
what?
when they give that IP to somebody else who's anti-terror?
And the thing is,
But I thought
Right.
IP was based on physical location.
you can
IP
mask
is
your
based on
IP.
network.
Yeah, you can mask
Yeah,
your
you
IP
can mask
very
it.
easily.
People, I mean, that's how. Isn't that
That's
how a lot
basically
of
how
the,
everyone in China
the,
Gets online.
P2Ps or whatever when you're doing the torrent, peer-to-peer torrent stuff, can't you mask? So that whoever's tracking...
You can easily spoof an IP. It's not a big deal.
But so with Twitter, it's all based on followers. If one IP address that has...
Is that, no, you don't
Stop
need...
saying IP. You don't really know.
You don't need, look, you don't need...
Am I the only person that doesn't know what an IP
Yes.
address is?
You don't need to have a whole bunch of followers on Twitter to
You
get
just
your
need
message
people to
out.
retweet it.
Right, you just need to have people see your message. Just say some
Yeah, and then you
keyword.
can't stop everyone who's retweeted, you know. I mean, even if they shut down an account, whatever's been retweeted is out there.
Yes.
And
Much
whatever's
to-
out
much
there
to
is
Ms.
out there,
Sacco's
period. You can
chagrin.
shut an account, but what's
Right.
been said is out there.
Justine Sacco and ISIS are in the same boat. I feel like we're running a bit short. We have 8 minutes. Is
I
that?
have to go. I have,
8.5 minutes.
5 minutes. I have 5 minutes.
Why do you have to go?
I have plans.
He's setting up a big thing. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to having you.
Do I, have to
I
bring
wish
do you still need
I
me to
wish
bring
I were
spoons?
invited.
Would
You
you
going
like to
back
come
to
to dinner?
Boston?
You're Jewish, and we're having shrimp.
That's the reason I wasn't invited.
Can you not eat shellfish?
Wow, that's a good one, Chris.
Was that a Jewish thing?
Don't you have to go back to Boston?
Oh, or another good one.
My favorite is you're Jewish and we just don't like Jewish people.
Why don't we just call a spade a spade? Is this a married couple thing or?
Chase is going.
Wow, so I really wasn't excited. Huh.
You can come over here if you'd like to come.
Are you more mad at Chris? Has your anger left from me and now is focused on Chris?
Are you going to be here
For some
tonight?
reason,
You're welcome to come. We'd love to
I thought
have you.
very highly of Chris, and
Now you have no friends left. So the listeners at home know the argument that Amir. Well, I don't consider an argument. The reason Amir is mad at me is because of.
can we not go into this? The reason
I'm
Amir's
trying
mad
to.
at
I'm
you?
trying to be
no,
as.
don't
opaque-
be as diplomatic
opaque.
as possible.
I'm trying to be opaque as possible.
You can't be opaque in this situation.
Yes, I can.
No.
So, I had said something
disparaging about somebody that I was going on a date with that he did not.
But the reason was,
and I had not been.
I said yesterday over text, "Who are you going out with?" Amir sent a picture back as his
Right,
response,
sure,
and so I thought he just wanted to comment on her picture, and so I gave it, and Amir didn't like it, and now I'm trying to make up for the fact that
You're not trying to make
Was
it.
that
I
the
am
girl
being-
in the dress from that tweet? Or
yes, the one where I put Amir's face on her.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
The fact that I wasn't invited to your dinner party is what we're talking about. Chris, who I thought was my friend, but I guess
This podcast has gone downhill so
Here, do I?